All right, let's take a little bit of a visit to Fantasyland today. Donald Trump's former press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany, appeared on Fox News last night, and this is a really instructive clip in revisionist history and how quickly the failed administration is trying to completely rewrite the past. And if you don't, if you're not aware of it, if you don't say, no, we're not going to let you do that, they will gaslight you into completely forgetting about what went down for 4 years before Joe Biden was sworn in as president in January of this year. Kayleigh McEnany appeared on Fox to talk about how chaotic the Biden administration is. The context is Afghanistan, as well as Joe Biden's diminishing approval rating. We've talked about the diminishing approval rating. With Trump, things were different, but typically presidents come into office with higher approval ratings and they sort of diminish over time. And we've talked about the dynamics of why. Kayleigh says during Trump's presidency, you didn't have crisis after crisis. Things weren't chaotic. Things were calm. What? And she's able somehow to say it with a straight face. Let's take a look at the clip.
Right. We are 8 months into a Biden presidency, Jesse. Wrap your head around that. We still have 3 years and 4 months left. Look, when President Trump was president, you didn't see crisis after crisis. You just didn't see it.
Can you imagine going on national TV and saying that with a straight face? So for starters, 500,000 dead from COVID under Trump, as if it's no big deal. It's the flu, open everything, no masks. It's a Democratic hoax. And then, of course, I mean, I don't have an hour, but the Ukraine scandal, the North Korean failure, the migrant border crisis, attacking reporters and the institution of a free press, using a Sharpie to change a hurricane map merely to make himself look better, going to Puerto Rico after a hurricane, not knowing Puerto Ricans are Americans, and then tossing rolls of paper towels like they're basketballs, telling people in his administration to slow down testing because too much COVID testing is making him look bad, inciting a riot on January 6th, claiming that an election was stolen and trying to actually stay in power despite the fact that he lost. I would need an hour to go through the full list of crisis a day, scandal a day, Trump presidency review. Does Kayleigh think we slept through Trump's entire presidency, or that we have collective amnesia? And then also hilariously, or just horrifyingly, like this is just the bottom of the barrel, Kayleigh McEnany actually says, imagine if Joe Biden had been in charge when the virus hit.
I shudder to think about what COVID would have been like under Joe Biden. We've seen Afghanistan blow up, crime in the streets, you named it all. What would COVID have been like? Because I was in the White House when it was pretty scary times.
So there is just so much there. And, first of all, it's interesting how she admits it was scary. It was scary times when COVID hit. The entire time she was in the White House and Trump was president, neither she nor Trump admitted that it was scary times. She's admitting it now in order to say it would have been too scary for Joe Biden to handle. But at the time, it was, this is all fine. It'll be gone by April. Freedom and liberty will be open by Easter. 15 cases will soon be zero. It's like the flu, on and on. Now, though, it was so scary, Joe Biden never could have handled it. But most importantly, Trump's handling of coronavirus was one of the worst in the world by the numbers. During that first year, when Trump was in charge, we scaled up our testing so slowly that we were constantly behind the curve. Trump wanted testing slowed down. He wouldn't wear a mask. He wouldn't tell people to wear masks. He played coy with the whole freedom and liberty thing and attacked governors that were actually taking the virus seriously and putting in place all sorts of different measures. And Kayleigh McEnany has the audacity to come in now and say, imagine if Biden had been president. Well, we'd have had fewer dead if Joe Biden had been president. Wouldn't be zero, of course. The virus has ravaged most countries to some degree. But we would have been far, far better off. And so it's important to prevent them from rewriting history. It's important not to allow them to tell us a story that is completely divorced from reality. And we must remember that the Trump COVID response was a historic failure. Some might even say it was an historic failure. It's more of a grammatical question than a historical one. But we have to ensure that it's not rewritten. And unfortunately, there's just a reality that political memories are short. Even now, when we're seeing Joe Biden's approval rating diminish, at least in part because of what has been a successful campaign to discredit and attack Joe Biden's withdrawal from Afghanistan, which I am completely in favor of and consider one of his major accomplishments, getting us out of a 20-year quagmire in Afghanistan. Talked about it earlier this week, so I won't go into it again now. There's the idea of, wow, well, could this really hurt Democrats in 2022? I kind of think it won't. Number one, because it's not really the Democrats that are up for re-election. It's Joe Biden. And because political memories really are short. So it's important to remember that. But still, we shouldn't allow them to rewrite history. And of course, Fox News, that's one other thing, actually, I think is important to mention. We've talked anecdotally over the last 3-4 weeks. Oh, look, Fox isn't doing as much anti-vax propaganda anymore. Fox News is sometimes telling the truth about the safety of the vaccine or whatever. For the most part, and in particular the nighttime shows, although it's on the daytime shows as well, Fox News is still hosting, promulgating, signal boosting, and allowing really, really aggressive propaganda, disinformation, misinformation, and the rewriting of history. And last night's Kayleigh McEnany appearance is just more of the same. Do not forget that one of the best ways to support the David Pakman Show is by supporting our awesome sponsors. And today, one of those sponsors is Sheath Underwear. The weather is warming up. It's hotter. It's stickier out there. And unfortunately for many of us, that comes with a lot of sticking and rubbing and chafing with traditional underwear. That is what Sheath Underwear has solved. Sheath has developed unique boxer briefs with multiple ergonomic compartments in the front, preventing skin-on-skin contact. That means everything stays separate, dry, cool, and comfortable. With Sheath Underwear, there is no more sweating, no more chafing, no more readjusting. It's great. Sheath Underwear is giving the David Pakman Show audience 20% off when you go to sheathunderwear.com/Pakman and use the promo code Pakman. Give Sheath Underwear a try. My experience has been great. I believe yours will be as well. You can find the link underneath this video, and do not forget to use that promo code Pakman for 20% off.